Hi everyone, it's Kevin. Today I'm gonna 3D print Wren the Cannoneer. It's from Heroes Infinity on my mini factory. This one is a pretty cool pirate model. I'm gonna do a little bit of 3D kit bashing on it and then I'm gonna print it and paint. Let's go. Okay, so here what I've done, I've downloaded a bunch of explosion online from some STL that I find, and I'm just trying to move around in Chitubox, trying to find what I want. I've downloaded the cannonball as well, and I've made sure everything was the same size as the one in the kind of belt here at the bottom. So I like the kind of mushroom explosion from the first. Here I'm trying to see if I can fit something else. But this one I'm moving around, I'm not really finding anything good on it. So I'm gonna remove it, I'm gonna keep this part, I'm gonna save everything as an STL. The explosion is hollow, so I've dig a hole behind. Here I'm gonna start on my support. So as you saw, it was really easy. I've just scaled down some of the stuff that I download, I move around, then when everything was fine for me in Chitubox, you just save as an STL and you kind of kit bash something really easily. You don't have to remove anything here, it's only adding something extra, so it's really simple. Here on the support, there is a lot to do on the model, but that's okay. I'm gonna take my time. I'm not gonna show you everything obviously, but I'm just gonna make sure everything is clean. I'm gonna use a lot of tiny support. I'm gonna branch my support as well. Some part like this one, when everything is kind of flat with the build plate, it's a bit annoying. You kind of need to add a lot of support for no reason. So here I'm almost done with the main part of the model, and later on I'm just gonna go back and refine some of those parts as well. Here I'm cleaning some of the mess. I don't need that many supports, so it's good to go back, take off a couple of them and then branch some of the one you got already. Here for example, ropes. There's a lot of model with ropes, and the really annoying part with them is that they create a lot of islands. So I've made sure I had some good support at the start, and then I just had a lot of branching tiny support to make sure all the island was supported. Okay, I'm done printing. I have my pieces all good, all ready to go. So here the cannon, what happened, I didn't have enough support at the bottom of the explosion, the smoke, so this part was kind of missing at the bottom. I've used some milliput, I've resculpted the kind of smoke going around. The result is fine. I've primed and I'm good to paint. On the model itself, everything was fine. I've cleaned up the support, everything was pretty easy to clean. I've glued the model on the base already, it's not gonna be a bit of a trouble. I had to trim a little bit of the handle, and I've trimmed the pin as well, just to make it easier to fit it later. The fit was fine, but a little bit off, so I just had to refine a little bit and make sure everything's gonna glue pretty easily later on. And yeah, let's have fun painting it. Okay, let's go. So for the paint here, I always start with the skin. I don't know why, I always like to start on the skin. I'm gonna use some kind of brownish, purplish color for the shadows. I know a lot of people use kind of purple shadows for the skin, and the effect is really nice, I think. So I'm like, okay, let's try and let's see what happens. I'm gonna highlight with some kind of yellowish, brighter color as well. I'm just trying to get some contrast and some interesting shape on the skin, and trying to get the light right as well. Here on the hat I went with a dark blue, and then I just glazed some brighter blue on top. It's not super crazy complicated. I added a bunch of scratches around. That's gonna be the theme around the model. Everything's gonna be a little bit beat up, and adding those tiny scratches, they kind of add a lot of texture. I think they're really nice. And for the belt here and the top part as well of the model. I wanted to use some really bright color, but I started with this kind of yellow, dark yellow and dark brown to have my shadows first. And then I've tried to smooth everything up, try to brighten the color slowly and make sure it was not too dirty as well. Every time you use a really bright color on top of a dark one, the effect is really dirty, so I've tried to smooth everything out. The paints will be really simple, some red color and just doing my shadow on the folding line, brighten up some of the top parts. Now let's go on the leather, so it's the boots and the jacket as well. I use the same color for the both of them. I'm just doing exactly the same. Here I started with a dark brown and then I took my leather color and I glazed up and tried to give some bright highlight. When everything was done, I took the bone color and I added a bunch of scratches on the edge and inside some flat part like here. So that's the render for the leather, and the result is nice. It's the same theme as the hat or the pants, so that's great. I decided to use non-metallic metal for the sword here. Even if I suck at it, I'm like, okay, the only way I'm gonna learn is just to try it. So I kind of used some cold gray and then I've used the black and white to put my shadows and my highlights, trying to get the effect right. It's not perfect, I think, I don't know. I just need to try even more every time. I added some scratches and some rust here and there to give some, I don't know, some interesting part. But yeah, non-metallic metal is tough. I'm gonna have to practice more. The Canon, I used some true metallic paint this time. I darkened the metal a lot and I just gave some really bright highlight here really quickly. I want the Canon to be a bit rusty, beat up, so I'm adding some black here. I'm not sure what I'm doing, but I'm going at it. I'm adding the rust and the kind of verdigris after to add some interest as well. Right now I've worked a lot on it and I was not really happy, so I've used the black wash over to try to tone down some of the stuff that I done, and I went back after with my rust and tried to give the effect again. Some scratches again. And here for the explosion, I've tried my best on the effect, so I started bright and then yellow, orange, red, brown, going slowly on the outer smoke ring, I guess. And it's a bunch of like going back and forth with the color, smoothing out a bit the transition, trying to brighten some part of the smoke and darken some other parts. So when I had something decent, I went back with some wash and I applied a lot of it. It's kind of brown and red mixed together. And the goal was to get some detail and some shadows inside the smoke effect. But I wanted this kind of really like a matte finish. The Vallejo wash that I have, they get dry and they get really matte, so that's what I was going for. And that's it for the Cannoneer. This one was really cool. I really like painting Mini. I enjoyed the kit bash that I've done on it and trying to add some life to the model. The paint job is cool. I mean, it's not perfect. I can always improve. It's always the main concern every time that I paint. But for painting each figure 1 week at a time, it's hard to do better. So I try to improve anyway each time that I'm painting, but without spending more and more time, it's always hard. But I'm happy with what I've done. I think the whole thing is pretty cool altogether. I might even maybe one day reprint this model at a bigger scale. I think this can be pretty cool. I can keep the explosion on top. I think that's a really nice touch as well. So if you enjoyed the video and if you like the mini, tell me what you think in the comment. You subscribe for more and see you next week. Bye.